Taiwan is bursting with heaps of fun places to explore. Join me, Amber Hatfield, as I hit up travel hotspots, soak up some culture, and hunt down hidden gems. Let's go! Hello and welcome back to Let's Go. Today I am joined by my lovely fellow RTI host, Michelle Chiang.
Hey everybody, I'm back.
And today we are going to talk about a fun travel experience that Michelle has just recently done, which is going to Okinawa.
Yes, Okinawa, Japan.
Yes.
That is actually only about an hour and a half flight from Taoyuan Airport.
Mm-hmm.
So it is super close. I don't know why I hadn't gone sooner.
Oh, it was your first time?
Yeah, it was my first time ever.
Oh, okay.
Well, not to Japan, but to Okinawa Prefecture.
Mm-hmm.
I went because, of course, in recent news, the Japanese yen has been fairly low.
Yeah, a lot of people have been going, haven't they?
So, yeah, people are like, yeah, let's get on this bandwagon and then go to Okinawa or Japan in general and like spend, do the money exchange. And then it does actually feel pretty satisfying to be able to, shop and eat and go places and do stuff. And it is cheaper.
Yeah.
So that's why I went.
And Okinawa is like quite different, I guess, from other places you go in Japan. I mean, when I've been to Japan, I also go to like Tokyo or big cities and stuff, and Okinawa's vibe is very different from that.
Super different. I swung into Tokyo like just really quickly, like touch and go, and it's a mega city, substantially even more busy and crowded than places like Taipei, or I liken it more to Hong Kong, but more quirky and techy. So yeah, the super big city is generally what people think when they think about Japan, or like they think about Kyoto, where the vibes are very traditional Japanese. Is that what you say?
Or like very kind of historical, like lots of history to visit and stuff like that.
And they think about those movies. So Okinawa is not that. It is a bunch of islands in the south, the Okinawa Prefecture. And it is, I don't know how many islands. There are lots of small islands. So that's where I went. There is a main city on the Okinawa, quote unquote, main island called Naha. And that is actually a city. They have like a metro line and everything. I spent only like one day there though, because I was in Okinawa to go diving.
Yay, diving.
Which Amber also does.
And love, but haven't done for too long. So.
I am only recently on that hype train. I got certified last year, and I've been pretty much full steam ahead since then. So Okinawa bumped me up to 32 dives.
Wow.
Yeah, but I stayed because I was only there on Okinawa for about 7 days.
Okay.
Originally intended to be like a girls' trip. Stuff happened. They had to reschedule, but I already had put like money down on some dive tours, and it couldn't really be moved around or refunded. So I'm like, let's go. I'm just gonna go solo it. And I wasn't surprised because I know Japan is like super safe. But yeah, it was fun, very enjoyable to be soloing in Okinawa. Really chill vibes, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Amber has, but I'm not sure, listeners, if you have been anywhere like it's very islandy. But people are really low stress, very relaxed.
Yeah. I need some of that right now.
Very laid back. Of course, nobody's ever anywhere on time. Nor do they really expect that of you. But
So were you doing like a dive boat thing? So were you on a dive boat the whole time? Or were you staying in a hotel or something?
Okinawa doesn't have liveaboards. I don't think the government allows that. Because one of the very interesting things about Japan in general is that they have... their government has pretty strict regulations on environmental control. Now, that has maintained a certain standard when it comes to their fisheries. So the reefs around Okinawa are just absolutely gorgeous. They are so healthy. I brought back a million videos of these, there's no bleaching. There's very little boat damage. If you can find it at all, and the fish population is just it's nice. It's just really nice under there.
And were there a lot of people diving as well? Is this like the kind of time of the year for diving in Okinawa?
It is peak season.
Okay.
Okinawa being roughly in the same longitudinal line as Taiwan. It gets cold in the winter, kind of cold, not as cold as like England, but and it gets pretty warm in the summertime, and summertime is peak season for diving in Okinawa, and it is so hot there right now. It is so hot, swelteringly. You can't do things outside unless it is water sports.
Kind of like Taiwan right now, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how people just walk around on the street. You have to plan pit stops indoors in order to cool off. Otherwise, you will get heat stroke. It's really awful. So if you do go to Okinawa during this awfully hot season, then water sports, of course. So lots of people book dive tours. These dive boats are not like liveaboards where you live on it, but they're just like day trips where the boat will take you out to a certain location and you hang around that location, go snorkeling or diving or something, and then you return back to the Okinawa main island. So that's what I did.
Oh, back to the main island. Okay, so you stayed on the main island.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking before, I went to Okinawa once before, and I was trying to think of the name of the island that I stayed on, and I just thought of it. It's called Zamami.
Oh, yes. They do offer tours out that way too, but I did not.
Uh-huh.
Because
it was really small, and there was really not much to eat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Even on Okinawa main island, I stayed right near Kadena Air Force Base because one of the dive company tour group, the people that's where they're based. So they would pick up free from my hotel if I was in the area. So that's where I was. And it is hard to find food at slightly off hours. Like if it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, none of the restaurants are open unless you're going to, KFC. So
yeah,
very chill, super island vibes. But man, was everything delicious when I did actually get, into a restaurant.
Ooh, so what's some of the stuff you were eating while you were there?
Well, mostly Japanese food. But yes, I think in comparison, if you're going to compare it to Taiwanese food, Taiwanese people tend to be a little bit more afraid of sodium.
Okay. Yeah.
Like they tend to eat lighter. A lot of people will complain if something is 太咸, so meaning it's too salty. But it's very. I'm also I am a very heavy flavor person. Love extreme salt, spice. Hit me in the face with it, please. So in Japan, like every place that I ate at was very well seasoned. It wasn't too heavily seasoned, but it was well seasoned. And that's something that was really good. I had the Okinawa soba, which you should when you're there because it's the birthplace of that noodle soup. And then seafood like grilled fish and scallop soups, and it's really delicious.
And a lot of sashimi.
I am actually, weirdly, not a sashimi fan.
Oh, okay. I guess it's because you like the fish too much. You don't want to.
A little. I mean, it does freak me out when I see things killed in front of me. I can't eat it after that. But yes, I was there, and a lot of ramen, a lot of grilled food. Everything is so good. But the diving. If you haven't been to Okinawa to dive, most people, when they come to Asia, they go to like Thailand, the Philippines, or Indonesia,
Malaysia,
right, to go diving. Okinawan diving was beautiful. The visibility is like 100 feet in every direction. And the coral colors and health were like top notch. Yeah, I'm comparing it to like the Similan Islands in like Thailand, where visibility was good, but not that good. And I figured out why. It's because during high tide and low tide, when the ocean actually does move, the ocean moves a lot. So you can't actually dive. There's a lot of current during those hours, but as long as you avoid those hours, there's almost no current.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So when the ocean actually does move, it brings in a lot of food for the coral. The water's very clear, so they do a lot of photosynthesis. But otherwise, it's very easy, clear diving. Weirdly.
Right, okay.
I went out to the Karamas.
Oh, so that's the national park kind of area, which is
They
also
do
where
have one.
Zamami Island is. It's over that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I went out that way on a 3-dive tour. It's very, very popular. Also out up to the Manza area. So the Manza dives are actually really close into shore. It's only about 10 minutes in a boat from the actual pier, whereas the Karamas is an hour. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh.
Actually, when I went to Okinawa, I didn't dive. Yeah, I just went there and did like beach holiday, kind of
lovely.
chilling, but I didn't do any diving when I was there, which actually now I'm like, I should probably go back and do that because
do that
now I've seen, Michelle was showing me some of the pictures of the coral that she was just talking about, and it's super beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, really colourful. It's not destroyed or damaged.
No, and there is bigger life too. There's sea snakes and sharks, and I was hoping to see eagle rays. Eagle rays do frequent the area, and it is whale shark season just about now. And mantas up out by Ishigaki. There's also a hammerhead shark season.
Wow.
I don't know exactly when that is, but I shall go back for it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I went up to Manza, did the Karamas, and also Mina Sesko Islands. All of just really gorgeous. Everything was really pretty.
Yeah. So what were some of the kind of favorites, or like maybe new species or new things that you've seen that you didn't see before? Were there any of those?
Well, okay. I'm just gonna first of all warn people about the boat ride from Okinawa main island to the Karamas.
Okay.
That was like being waterboarded in a washing machine. I took medicine the night before I start my anti seasickness medication in preparation because I do not like being seasick. It is an awful experience.
It is, yeah.
So, but it's a rough ride, and on a boat, if you're not that doesn't have like an inside cabin where you can like shut the door, there's a lot of water. It's very choppy. There's a lot of water in your face. So just be prepared for that. But once you get to the other side, the bay the several locations that we went diving in, cuttlefish are one of my favorite creatures to ever see alive, because I frequently eat them as snacks. I'm sorry. That's not the reason. It's like I misspoke. So, but yeah, they're a very unusual animal to see in the wild. Because they have all of the camouflage abilities of octopi, meaning they can change color and they do this weird like shifty alien blinky situation with all the chromatophores on their skin. Cuttlefish are like little UFOs where they have those little wavy fins on the side of their bodies and they hover in place and they scoot around. They're real cool. Very neat. They're very smart also. They think you can't see them, but you can. And then they realize it and and then they shift colors and so there's cuttlefish.
I know you were saying just now that you saw a really big sea snake, or very long.
Oh, well, I've seen sea snakes before, but the largest specimen that I had ever seen was there. Sorry, people, if you don't like snakes, but sea snakes really don't bother people. They would much rather use their venom to hunt prey rather than bite people. It'd be a waste. So unless you literally grab a sea snake and make it think that you're going to kill it, it will not harm you. So the largest one I've ever seen was I'm going to say estimate about 2 meters, which is about 6 feet, 7 feet. Was just the dive master pointed at me. I thought they were pointing at me and I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, no, turn around. And I turn around and the thing is like 2 feet from my face. And it's a little startling. It's a little startling when that happens. Yeah. But amazing. I had my camera, thankfully, on. So I turned around and grabbed a really great video shot of it.
Nice.
Yeah. There's white tip reef sharks. There were a few blue spot stingrays, turtles, all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Great. And how about like the diving places? So if you wanted to go to Okinawa and go diving, like how would you find kind of like a reputable dive shop? Are there lots of them around? Like do you just go kind of on the street and find one, or do you do it before?
There's lots of dive shops, but there are, for people who speak certain languages, fewer options, right?
Okay.
So what I did in preparation of my trip was I joined Okinawa Divers. It's a Facebook group, and you can ask them any questions that you might have, or just use the search function and see if anyone else has asked those questions before. And if you're looking for reputable dive shops, especially if you're looking to do certain things, like you like macro diving, or you want to go muck diving, or you're hunting a certain animal, or want to go to a certain location, you can pop those questions into those kinds of groups, and the people in there will help you. I went with Bubble Addicts up to Minasesko, and then with Aloha Okinawa Divers down to Kerama and to the Manza dives. I would highly recommend both. Andrea with Aloha especially, she was fantastic. Both companies spoke very fluent English, and they rented equipment. And ultimately, really, everybody's very professional, very clean. Aloha does free pickup from your hotel should you be staying in the Kadena or Chatan areas.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And so when you go on a diving trip abroad, like for example this trip, you don't take any of your stuff with you, you just like rent it when you're there?
A lot of people don't like traveling with a lot of bulk. I actually do. I did take everything with me, with the exception of I don't have a regulator set yet.
Okay.
So that's something that I obviously needed to borrow because it's a piece of life equipment. Must live, must breathe underwater.
Because you're not free diving, right? You're scuba diving.
I'm scuba diving. So I brought my my BCD and all I did ask them specifically what items that they might have for us to use. For example, usually I don't need to bring weights and things. So I brought all my stuff. I just rented my regulator set. So it worked out nicely.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah. You're making me jealous. I just want to go. And Michelle came back with a great tan as well.
A series of unfortunate events led to said tan. The water there is so warm. It was roughly 29 or 30 degrees Celsius, which is high 70s, low 80s in Fahrenheit. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to wear a wetsuit while diving. And my wetsuit is long sleeved, so I did not apply sunscreen. I was just wearing my wetsuit when I got in their van when they picked me up. And it was so hot. I'm like, okay, we're not going to dive in a wetsuit. We're just going to go diving in a swimsuit. But I didn't have sunscreen. And I had this passing thought. It's like, if you know me, if you've seen me, look at my host picture. I have a fair amount of melanin, so I'm like, I have melanin. I think I can handle this. No, absolutely not. It was a terrible decision. And I was bright lobster red that was the second day that I was in Okinawa for the rest of my trip. And thankfully, by the time I got back to Taiwan, I was brown. But yes, bring sunscreen, preferably reef safe sunscreen.
Yes,
always
important.
If you're going to be in the water with animals. So.
Awesome. Any other little tidbits or any things that you want to add? Or
well, always do your research wherever you're going. Join Facebook groups. Communities are extremely helpful. I would say specifically for Okinawa Island is huge. Don't underestimate that square mileage. Actually look it up, how long it takes to drive from one point or another. There is no public transportation outside of Naha City. So if you do need to get around, you're going to have to rent a car. You do have to book those in advance, especially during certain seasons, like peak season. Cars would be less available. They don't have Uber, so you have to look into what kind of ride apps that you might need if you're not going to book the car, things like that. Just Okinawa is much bigger than I expected, and it took a long time to get from, for example, the Minasesko dives back to my hotel. And thankfully, one of the other divers gave me a ride. People there are so nice.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Awesome.
Like yeah.
Great. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, Michelle. I hope when the next time that you go somewhere, we can have you on the show to talk about more fun experiences in diving. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for today's show. Thank you to Michelle for coming in. If you guys have anywhere that you would love to hear about, or maybe for the RTI team to try and go to, you can send it in to my email at amberesh@rti.org.tw, and I'll see if we can make an episode about it. See you next time.